Award is Frank Harrison, the Chairman, President, and CEO of Holborn Corporation. Holborn is an employee-owned independent reinsurance brokerage firm headquartered in New York City with nearly 100 years of experience servicing many of the finest insurance companies in the world, including one right down in Owatonna, Minnesota. Unbelievable. Under Frank Harrison's leadership, this Lower Manhattan worldwide company has fallen in love with the mission of the Big Brothers Big Sisters agencies right here in Minnesota. Frank and Beth have come out to the Twin Cities for every single one of the 12 Federated challenges. Their support of everything we're trying to do here is absolutely nothing short of heroic. They're very, very special people, and I think you're going to understand that even more as we take a look at this video.
I came from a broken home. My parents were divorced when I was 2 or 3 years old, and in the early years, I was sort of kicked around like a hockey puck between my father and stepmother and my maternal mother. We lived on the street, and there was no such thing as parental supervision. And so, did we get involved in mischief? Yes, we did. We threw rocks, we climbed billboards, but we also played stickball, and we played wall ball, and we played football, and we did a lot of different things. And again, unbeknownst to me at the time, I probably learned how to run, jump, and throw as a young kid, running all over the streets of Old Bridge with my friends. And after football season, the coaches, they make you do weightlifting. Myself and a group of our friends, we didn't really care for the lifting very much, and we were told that if you went out for the track team, you didn't have to do the weightlifting for football. I started learning how to hurdle and started learning how to long jump and then high jump and then run the 400 and doing the different events. But I knew if I stayed focused, and once I started getting good grades, I didn't want to give that up. Whether it's a teacher telling you you're on the right track or doing well, or a coach telling you can be something, or finally seeing your name in the newspaper because you caught a couple touchdown passes, these are all forms of positive reinforcement that started to drive me. And I wanted to see how good I could be, but in particular, I really wanted to get into that Wharton Business School. Today, when I recruit employees to Holborn, I kid them sometimes and I say, I want to hire PhDs, not the kind you're thinking about. I want poor, hungry, and driven. Give me people that are poor, hungry, and driven, we probably have a spot on the team for you. And back in the 1970s, when Penn came calling, they were staring at poor, hungry, and driven.
I think Frank mentors because he's been very blessed in his life to be around coaches, teachers, in high school and college. His coach Moon from college has just been a huge influence on Frank.
Oh my God, I just loved him. You would too. He's the sort of person you just want to be around all the time. He's full of enthusiasm. He makes things fun. He does not prejudge anybody by the color of their skin or their religion or any of those things. He just embodies everything you'd want to be. As far as coaching goes, he's made the Hall of Fame in track and field. He is arguably one of the greatest track and field coaches this world has ever seen. And he also taught you to be humble and have humility. I think the biggest lesson I learned from him was the importance of giving back. When I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, it was 1982. The Olympic year was 1984. And I took a run at trying to make the Olympic team in '84. Made it as far as the U.S. Olympic trials. Was injured in that meet and did not make the Olympic team. But along the way, what I realized is just how hard it is. It's very hard trying to work a job part-time and train. There's certainly back then, and even today, there's not a lot of money available for these athletes. So I'm involved with two organizations. One is called USATF Foundation, and the other is US Athletic Trust. Both organizations raise money for aspiring athletes who want to make the Olympic team. And in the youth division, we have a group of athletes that show up in my backyard and they work out in our barn almost every day of the week, almost all year long. And these are generally high school athletes, college athletes, in some cases post-collegiate athletes as well. They come, we have fun, they blare music, they have a good time, and we make a couple simple rules. A, you have to do the work. B, I will charge you no money ever. C, you just have to have fun and just have a sense of purpose in what you're trying to achieve. They text me daily, and I get updates on their training. I try not to interfere with their training, but I do try to give them guidance if they ask for it. Because of my association with track and field, I know a lot of coaches, we know a lot of medical facilities, and we'll try to put people in touch with one another and just help in any way we can.
Frank has impacted my life as really teaching me to be ready for anything. Frank has big ideas, big plans, and I'm usually the first person that he recruits to help him make all that happen. The barn. The barn started out as just a place for Frank and our children to train, exercise, but then one thing led to another, and then they brought their friends and more friends came, and now it's a place where the kids come and it feels like a family. They come, they have a good time, they work hard, and they have fun together, and Frank is just very proud of them. And I'm usually around with ice packs, bandage, and I'm the biggest cheerleader.
He knows what track and field or sports in general can do for athletes in high school or even middle school. He knows that it can give them an opportunity that otherwise they wouldn't have.
Well, first and foremost, we had that athletic struggle together, and I got this ring out of it, U.S. Olympic team ring. Frank should have gotten that, and he didn't. But in my eyes, he's a massive Olympian. Well, I can reflect that we planned a trip for our track team, which was mostly high school athletes, about 7-8 years ago, and Frank and Kathy got a hold of this, and it turned into the most amazing experience for these high school athletes that you couldn't even buy if you wanted to. And it was a combination of Frank's resources, but more importantly, his imagination, his love of the sport, and his love of kids.
Frank's a father figure in a lot of ways. He's a mentor, he's a coach, he's always takes time for people. He's obviously very busy, but I always remember particularly as a younger professional coming up in the business, if you went to him with a question and he was working at his desk, he would always stop what he was doing, have you in, spend the needed time. You see, he cared for people.
Frank has had a very positive influence on my life, mainly because he is taking this organization forward. This was my life for so many years, and I wanted it to maintain its independence. And Frank has grown it very nicely. We're a much larger firm since he's taken over.
I'm hoping that I've helped create the blueprints on how to succeed in what we do with the fervent hope that the company's greatest days are ahead of it long after I'm behind. I'm hoping with my family that they just realize that their dad cared a lot and only wants nothing but the best for his children. And these young athletes I coach, I really want them, obviously I want them to learn something about the sport of track and field, but it's more than that at the end of the day. It's about learning discipline, learning focus, having integrity, while having fun all the while. And the key is you've got to have fun at the same time, or none of it matters. And I just hope that they'll remember that there was some old guy who would make his way home from work and get to the barn and try to jump into a workout with them and teach them what to do and give them a little bit of guidance. And if that helped them even one small little bit, I'll feel pretty good about myself.
Well, Frank and Beth, thank you so much for mentoring these high school athletes in your backyard, and thank you for helping make their dreams for the Olympics a possible reality. And most of all, thank you so very, very much for falling in love with the kids of Minnesota and our Federated Challenge and the great work that Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization does. The way you've lived your lives is an example to all of us. So on behalf of the kids of Minnesota, the Big Brothers Big Sisters agencies in this state, and the 50 sponsors of Federated Challenge, we say thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you have done for so many. And I'm not sure where they are. Frank and Beth Harrison, will you please join us on stage?
Frank and Beth, please accept this sign of our deep respect and appreciation from Layla and her big sister Molly, who represents the 3,100 plus matches you have profoundly influenced.
Congratulations, Mr. Harrison. Thank you for all you do for the kids in Minnesota.
Young lady, you're going to be going places, trust me. Wow, what do I say? Thank you. I'm very humbled, and I'm very, very happy. For starters, each year when I come here, I can still fit in this tuxedo. That makes me happy. That's becoming a challenge as you get older. But it is a huge honor to come here every year. I love seeing everybody as we've done this over the years and have gotten to know so many wonderful people here. But the fact is simply this. On my calendar, this event is circled first each year. It's one of the most looked forward to events for both Beth and me. And that's because these two folks right here, Jeff and Marty Feathers, they are remarkable people. They are remarkable leaders. Just look at them. They are the very essence of class and elegance, passion and caring. And I got to tell you, their unbridled enthusiasm, I feed off it. It makes me want to come back here. It makes me want to contribute. And if you agree with me that they're the most wonderful champions for the kids of Minnesota, and I'm just going to ask you to stand up and let them hear it, because I think they are. Going on, they say today that there's a lot wrong in our country, and I suppose we do have our problems. But if you want to see something that is really right with our country, I want you to take the time and stop by table 19 and take a good look and talk with my great friends of 2+ decades, Paul and Phyllis Dreher. Wonderful people. They, to me, embody everything that is right about the United States of America. Hardworking, loyal to family, loyal to each other, loyal to their company, loyal to their country, hardworking and smart, dependable, and yes, charitable too. And then I started thinking about it. It goes beyond Paul and Phyllis and Jeff and Marty, all the fine Federated employees. The culture of the leadership of this organization has spread and spread wonderfully throughout the company. So to all the Federated employees in this room, past and present, I salute you, and I would ask you, please, could you stand up so we could see who you are and let everybody? That's where it happens. It happens with the Federated people. There it is, folks. They're the heroes. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize one of my own, a young lady who heads, this is the personification of poor, hungry, and driven. She heads HR, which is no small task, in Lower Manhattan, but interestingly, she's my one employee in our New York-based office that's also a big in New York City. Ashley Redmond, stand up. Way to go, kid. And she got involved as a big in New York City well before she knew I was involved with the wonderful folks here out at Federated. She did it on her own. Okay, very briefly, I just want to talk to the littles. Young lady, you being one, for just a moment. You know, the making of that video, that was quite an interesting exercise for me. Early on, I'm sitting in the living room of Pat Cooper's house, and he's asking me some questions. He asked me some questions about my childhood, and I froze. And I was not having a senior moment, although I am prone to those. I guess I had repressed much of my childhood. I couldn't remember things. Sure enough, as this process went on, Shane and Steve came out to my home in Colts Neck, New Jersey, filmed those scenes in the barn that you saw. So some old scrapbooks were pulled out that I had not looked at in 30 years or so. And sure enough, in one of those scrapbooks, my 4th grade report card fell out. And I had forgotten that I had saved my 4th grade report card. A flood of emotions hit me when I saw that report card. You got to see, back in the 4th grade when I'm 9 years old, so we're about the year 1968, virtually every grade on that report card was either a D- or an F. And worse, the comment section talked about all sorts of behavioral issues. Horrible. The memories came rushing back, and I got to tell you, none of them were good. I had a terrible childhood, quite frankly. And what I remembered most, when I thought back in the childhood memories, is people telling me how bad I was. People somehow blaming me for things, and I'm not sure why they blamed me. I don't know what I did. These are the products, I guess, of coming from a broken home. I also remember a lot of people telling me I wouldn't amount to anything. And so I, like you, young lady, in a very different way, was once a little in the 60s. And here today, to my fellow littles, here's what I want you to know. If anyone ever tells you you're bad, don't listen. If anyone tries to put blame on you for things that are not your fault, don't listen. And don't you ever, ever, ever let anyone tell you that you can't amount to anything. Because I gotta tell you, as time went on, guess what? My future was very bleak, I guess, as a 9-year-old. The fact of the matter is, I shouldn't have even been passed into the 5th grade. They should have held me back. But because of mentors, because of people like the very people in this room, people that care, people that would give you a shot, people that gave me a shot, because that happened, I began to turn things around in my life, and this little went on to the Ivy League. This little went on and captained one of their sports team. This little went on and became the CEO of a major company. It's called the American dream, folks. It's called the American dream. And despite all the negativity that surrounds us, and it's disgusting in this political season right now, I am here to tell you that the American dream is alive and well. I am here to tell you, with all due respect to some of our foreign guests in the room, the greatest country is the United States of America. And why is it the greatest country? It's because of charity, and it's because we care about each other and we help each other. We're the most charitable nation on the planet, bar none. And it starts in rooms like this, and we're gonna help young ladies like that. That's what it's all about, folks. And that's what gets me fired up. And I'm so happy to be part of their team. I just hope that I live long enough to come back here for 20, 30 more years on, and we keep doing this. So finally, I'm gonna wrap this up to just simply say this. To my beautiful wife of 31 years, who is indeed my better half,
in front of all these people, I want you to know I love you. Thank you, everybody. Let's have a good night. Thanks.